I, 43 male, have 2 children with my late wife Kayla. Sam, 21 meters, and Liz, 16F. All fake names. Kayla passed away when our kids were 15 and 10. I won't give specifics about how she passed, but she was struck by a drunk driver when she was on her way home from work. She really was the love of my life, and to say that her passing hit our family hard would be an understatement. I promised myself that if I got back into the dating game I wouldn't date anyone for at least a couple years for the sake of my kids. 3 years after my wife's passing, I met my now fiancée. We'll call her Amanda. Things went slow and I didn't introduce her to my kids until we had been dating for about a year at that point. Now we've been together for 3 years and are engaged. Amanda and my kids have always had a good relationship. Neither of my kids are super close to her, but they have always been friendly and welcoming to her, and Amanda has never overstepped any boundaries my kids have, like trying to replace their mother. At the beginning of Amanda and I's relationship, she was a bit insecure of the fact that I was a widower. During the first few months of us dating she would constantly ask things like if Kayla had never passed, would I still be with her right now? I always kept my answers brief, and told her that I didn't like thinking about the what-ifs and that she was the one I was dating now and that was what mattered. Eventually she stopped making these comments and I stopped worrying about it. Now to the issue. My parents were hosting a family dinner to celebrate my fiancé and I's engagement. It was my mom and dad, my late wife's sister and her husband, Sam and Liz, and me and Amanda. Dinner was going well, we were all making small talk with each other and talked about wedding plans. About halfway into dinner my mom made a comment about how she was so happy I was able to find the spark I had with Kayla and someone else. I don't think anybody really paid much attention to the comment, but then Amanda laughed and said I'm happy she died, otherwise I would have never gotten him to myself. The tone of the dinner immediately shifted and everyone got extremely tense, especially my kids. Amanda noticed the shift and started awkwardly laughing like she was trying to play her comment off as a joke. I was honestly just frozen as that was the first time she had made a comment like that. My kids looked disgusted and Liz got up and walked out to the car. Sam waited a bit longer like he wanted me to say something, but I was still in shock about what Amanda had said. To make a long story about the dinner short, the dinner was kind of ruined, so I said my goodbyes to everyone, grabbed my fiancé and we all drove home. My daughter hasn't spoken to me or Amanda since and it's been 3 days. I got tired of it and pulled my son aside to ask him what I should do. He said something along the lines of I'm a grown man and don't care who another grown man marries, but I don't want a woman who speaks like that about our mother around my sister. Sam's comment stuck with me and now I'm considering calling off the engagement entirely. She's never made comments like this before, but I'm worried if I let it slide this one time, it will become more frequent and it will affect my daughter. I need some advice from outside perspectives and just want to do right by my kids. Wibta if I called it the engagement because of the comment she made? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect to get this much advice so shortly after posting this. Nonetheless, thank all of you for the advice and even the people calling me a bad father. I think your guys' words are what I needed to pull my head out my ass. I will try to talk to my kids alone tonight before speaking with my fiancé and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure my fiancé and I are over though. Update 1. Did my fiancé apologize to anyone at the dinner party? No, she didn't. I honestly don't think it even registered or has registered to her that what she said was wrong. 2. Does fiancé have social anxiety? Not to my knowledge, no. In all the time I've known her she's never shown any signs of social anxiety and doesn't have a history of it. 3. How old was my late wife? She was 37 when she passed and we were the same age. Amanda is 41. A lot of people were asking for clarification on the time frame of her passing and when my fiancé and I met. At this point in time Kayla has been gone for about 6 years and I met Amanda roughly 3 years after Kayla's passing. I didn't mention either of their ages as I didn't believe it was important because we're so close in age, but I understand why a lot of you guys would want to know. Now that I've clarified the things I was most asked about in the comments, we can get into the update. While I'm writing this update, it's the day after I talked to my kids. So last night at around 5:30 my fiancé left for work. She works nights most days of the week, so I was able to call my son and ask if he could come over so I can talk to him and his sister. He goes to our local college and lives in an apartment near his school. When he started college he wanted to move out, but also wanted to stay close to us, so he settled on an apartment a few blocks away from the college. He came over and I called him and his sister into the living room to talk with the both of them. When they were both seated I told them point blank that I didn't think the wedding was happening anymore, and that the comment she made was unacceptable. I then, by the advice of the comments, apologized to them. I told them I was sorry for not saying anything for so long and letting the tension thicken in our home. I told my daughter that I understood why she hasn't spoken to me and that I was sorry for allowing her to think that I was even remotely okay with what she said. I felt pretty spineless after we had gotten back from dinner that night, so I wanted to do everything in my power to make it right with my kids during the conversation. My daughter told me that she felt disgusted at the comment Amanda made and even more so when I didn't defend her mother. She then told me that the past 2 years that she's known Amanda, she felt like she's been gradually trying to push her and Sam away from me. One of the examples Liz gave was when my son moved out. He moved out when he was about to start his sophomore year of college, and when he mentioned the idea of moving out, Amanda was the one who took that and ran with it. According to Liz, Amanda was the one encouraging Sam the most to move out. To be clear, I was never against Sam moving out, but I was clear to him too he was welcome to live at home for his college years and even after until he found where he wanted to be. I asked Sam if he felt pushed out by Amanda, and if that's why he moved out. He said he hadn't felt pushed out before he told everyone he wanted to move, but after he put it out there my fiancée kept pushing for him to move out. Liz cut in and said that every time she brings up college, Amanda keeps encouraging her to go out of state. Liz doesn't plan on going out of state and she's been open about wanting to go to the college Sam is attending right now. Liz said she feels like Amanda is waiting till she graduates high school and goes to college so she can move out. A lot of the comments were right about the subtle comments eventually turning into Amanda wanting my kids pushed away from me. Liz said that she was scared that by the time I eventually noticed the way Amanda was acting, too big of a wedge would have already been driven between me and them. I told my kids that I'm sorry it's taken me this long to notice and that I was also sorry they've been walking on eggshells for so long. I hugged my kids and told them no matter what, they are my top priority, not Amanda or anybody else. A low T of comments pointed out that even though my son is grown, he still needs his father, and I made sure to let my son know that I will always be there for him and his sister even when they are well grown. The entire conversation lasted about 2 hours, we covered a lot of the bases we wanted to, and it got emotional on all sides. In short, Amanda and I are done. I've made it a point to tell my kids that none of this situation is their fault, and that Amanda is the grown woman who said what she said. My kids and I are okay right now, but they aren't 100% with me and probably won't be for a while. I'm completely fine with that and just want my kids comfortable in their own home. Amanda has tomorrow off from work, so I plan on talking to her tomorrow. I also plan on calling my mother to ask her why she thought it was okay to even bring up Kayla at the dinner. I don't want my daughter here when it all goes down, so she's staying tonight and tomorrow night with Sam. So that's where I'm at right now. Not super happy about the outcome of me and Amanda, but would rather have my kids happy and healthy than have a wife. Again, thank you everyone for the advice and the harsh words. I'll update after I call it off with Amanda. Update 2. So where we last left off is my kids and I talked, made up, and my daughter is staying with her brother so she doesn't get caught up in what was about to happen with my now ex-fiancé. Before the hard part of the day, breaking it off with Amanda, I made a call to my mom to let her know of the situation. A lot of the comments told me to not bash my mom for the comment she made. Now thinking back on the situation with a clear mind, the comment my mother made towards Amanda was most definitely a compliment towards her. And that was confirmed in the call I had with her. My mother, bless her heart, felt extremely guilty for the entire situation. She fully believed the situation all stemmed from her one comment. I assured her that none of the situation was her fault and that I've never blamed her one bit for any of this. We talked a bit more before I let her go. The call ended at about 9:15 a.m. and I was left waiting for Amanda to wake up. She woke up at around 10:30 a.m., and I didn't want to ambush her straight after she woke up, so I waited until about 11:10 a.m. to sit her down and talk. A lot of people in the comments suggested to secretly video the whole thing. I thought that was extremely smart, so I had my phone set to record in my back pocket the entire time. I didn't think she'd try to do anything drastic, but I would rather be safe than sorry. The talk with her went about as well as anyone could imagine, so not at all. I told her I needed to talk with her, that it was serious, and we sat in the living room. When we were seated, I began unloading at her about the comment she made about Kayla at my parents' house, how it made my kids feel, how it made me feel, her lack of an apology of any sort of acknowledgement to what she said, and so on. I told her I expect her to give an apology to my parents, my in-laws, and most importantly, my kids. During the entire time of me unloading on her, she didn't seem to show any bit of emotion other than her eyes, which were slightly wider than normal. After I spoke my truth, she straight up asked, so if I apologize to everyone, we'll go back to normal? I told her point blank, no. I told her that the comment she made at dinner was not the extent of my problems with her. I then told her that I know she heavily pressured Sam to move out when he wasn't even sure if he wanted to at that point in time, and that I also know she is now trying to do the same with Liz. I did my absolute best to leave my kids out of the situation but told Amanda that the way my kids described her treatment towards them was the main reason I don't see a future with her anymore. Amanda was stone-faced up until I told her we were done. I think that's when the panic set in for her. She kept saying that he'll apologize to everyone, that she'll make it right with my kids, ect. I told her that if she apologizes, I will certainly appreciate it, but we were still done either way. She was full on crying at this point and asked me why wasn't I willing to try and fix our relationship? And I told her that even though I loved her, and I will be honest I still love her very much, I was not willing to take another chance of my kids being hurt against the way they were. I was frustrated and shot back at her asking her why she was trying to push my kids out of their own home? And I got back an answer I was not at all expecting. I was completely shocked at her response, but a lot of you guys won't be. A lot of commenters actually hit the nail right on the head with what Amanda was truly like. Amanda responded with, "Well, I didn't know you expected me to house somebody else's kids for the rest of my life." I immediately saw red, and after about a minute I told her get out. I told her that my kids can go wherever they damn please, especially in the house that I own and pay for. She tried to retaliate, but in the end ended up pack a few bags and going to stay with one of her friends. I emailed a copy of the phone recording to myself. The talk only lasted about 25 minutes, not nearly as long as the talk I had with my kids, so if anything ends up coming of the conversation, I have all I'd need to keep my name clear. I've texted my kids that Amanda is out of the house for good, that they are welcome to come home anytime, and let my son know that if he wants to, he is more than welcome to move back in completely. My daughter is coming back from her brother's place in the afternoon, and I still have phone calls to make to my parents and in-laws to apologize for this mess of a situation. Amanda is out of my house but keeps blowing up my phone for us to try to work things out. I'll let her come by in the next few days so she can collect the rest of her stuff out of my house. Boo. She is not welcome to live here again. I'll be honest and say that I am a bit devastated. Despite everything Amanda did, I still love her, and I probably won't stop loving her for a minute. But I'll be okay. Right now I just want to focus on the family that needs me, and will use this situation as an excuse to bond more with my kids. Another big thank you to everyone who helped me in the comments. A lot of the advice you guys gave played a part in making things right with my family. Update 3. Everything that happened honestly feels like a lifetime ago, which has reminded me that I'm getting older as I'm now 44. Haha. Liz turned 17 a few months ago and Sam is about to be 22. Life has honestly been pretty peaceful since I broke things off with Amanda. I will give a quick recap to my last update from almost a year ago when I had the conversation with Amanda. She had stayed at her friend's place for about a week, and I took that time to take the advice of many comments and I packed up her stuff like clothes and other small items for her. She had a couple of bigger things like chairs and other decor, so I made sure those were the only things she was allowed to come in the house for. I got the locks changed per advice as well. I will say that a lot of you commenters thought of things that didn't even cross my mind, like the locks, and I'm thankful you guys are a bit more cognitive than me. Everything after that was pretty smooth and amicable, which did surprise me. She came by and picked up her things and gave me back the ring, which I didn't want back, but she gave it to me anyways, and we didn't talk much. It was calm, but that didn't last because a few weeks later, she was harassing my socials for another chance. I was pretty exhausted by her at that point, so I just blocked her and had my kids block her as well. A lot of commenters pointed out in my second update that I didn't love her, I loved who I thought she was, and that was spot on, and it had helped the process of me moving on go much more quickly. It's been radio silence from her end since me and my kids blocked her, and since it's been almost a year, I'm pretty confident it will stay that way. This whole situation has made me realize that I'm perfectly fine and okay with being single for the rest of my life. Maybe people will see that as sad, but I find it more as an acceptance thing. Ending things with Amanda made me realize that I didn't feel that same love with her I felt with Kayla, and probably never will with anyone else. That's not fair to me or the person I could potentially date, and I'm content with the family I have around me. This situation has almost given me a whole new appreciation for my kids. They showed more maturity and understanding than I ever did at their age, and it's made me love them even more, which I didn't think was possible. Haha. Sam still has his apartment. I offered for him to move back in, but he declined, as he really enjoys having his own bachelor pad, which I understand as I was his age once too. He has a part-time he really enjoys that he's been working since his second semester this year, and I think he met a girl. Not sure, but I know my kid and I'm catching a vibe from him. Liz is amazing as always, and she enjoying summer before her senior year. She's made honor roll every year of high school, including this year, and I'm so damn proud. Both of my kids are such hard-working and genuinely good people that it's hard not to toot my own horn when I think about it. Sorry for rambling in this post about them. I love them more than anything and find myself word vomiting about them when I speak about them. I'm sure other dads can relate. Haha. Another huge thank you to everyone who's been following my story and gifting me all your amazing, and some not so amazing, advice. And also know that I've read your own stories in the comments about your similar experiences. I'm sorry a lot of you guys didn't have the support system I've shown my kids, and I really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to share your own personal stories. I wish I could give all of you giant dad hugs. Now on to second story. Brother's fiancée licked frosting off my face at my birthday party. Now I'm being blamed and banned from their wedding. I am 22 male and my brother is 28 male. He's been engaged to his fiancée for a few months now. She is 24. My brother's fiancée is your typical spoiled party girl, and TBH, so is my brother. In the last year or so, my brother and I have had a strained relationship. This is mostly due to differences of opinion when helping take care of our mom, who is struggling with some PTSD/anxiety. She got held hostage by a man at her job, is still recovering and not back to work yet. For some context, my brother is a very impatient and opinionated person who struggles to see things outside his own perspective. He doesn't have a good grasp on mental health. He is easily persuaded by what he reads online, gets caught up in conspiracy theories. And I noticed COVID/the pandemic kind of exacerbated all of this. I work as a paramedic and he's been arguing with me about thinking I know better than him ever since. I am adopted and my bio mom was of a different ethnicity, so we don't look like brothers. When he can't think of a way to win an argument, he brings up the fact that I'm not her real son or his real brother. It wasn't always like this between us, which is sad. He's just not the same person, and I'm not sure if it's work stress, life stress, or what. I get that this post is going to be skewed by my perspective, but I'll try to be objective when it comes to the conflict. My birthday was last weekend, when this happened. My brother's fiancée apparently had the idea to throw me a surprise party. Most of the people there were friends of my brother and the fiancée. Everyone was drunk. They made a bit of a show of bringing me out a cake and having me blowing out the candles. Before I did that, my brother's fiancée swiped frosting on her finger and put it on my cheek. I thought it was just her being nice and not trying to smash a piece of cake in my face. I blew out the candles, and after I did that, his fiancée grabbed my face and licked it. Like, from my jaw all the way up the side of my face. I have no idea why she did this. We don't even have the kind of relationship where it would be funny. My brother's face changed, his demeanor changed, he became very withdrawn and irritable. They were seen quietly fighting, and he ended up just leaving the party. I brought it up the next day to make sure he was okay, and apparently the two of them made up. It's me he has an issue with. I don't know what she told him, but it seems as if I'm the one being made out to be flirting with her, wanting her, etc. Not even remotely true. I told him to leave me out of his relationship problems. It's his partner who disrespected him and embarrassed him. He's angry at the wrong person. I refuse to apologize. Apparently I'm going to be out of the wedding unless I do. He's upset because I won't admit to my mistake. Well, I don't feel like I made one. Should I just do it for the sake of settling it? Normally I'm willing to be the bigger person, but this is a false accusation I don't want attached to myself. Ada? Oop, you know what, I'm not opposed to threatening him with that. Thank you. Oop, I never thought about it actually, and nothing really sticks out. She's obsessed with K-pop and I am half Korean, so she's made comments to me, but I didn't interpret them as flirting. I thought she was just trying to be nice and didn't know how else to connect when I shared about the whole being adopted thing. When she's sober she is more awkward/shy. My brother lives with my mom, so usually when I visit and we're talking, my mom and brother are around too, and it's more of a family vibe. Oop, this one hurts. I think I needed to hear it though. You're not wrong. I guess I'm just always trying to understand him, and I need to stop doing that. Especially when he's not giving me that same kind of understanding. I thought we could get back to the relationship we had before, but it's not looking like it's getting any better. Update 1. After trying to reach out to my brother, he finally came around and stopped ignoring me. He didn't want to talk about what happened, but was willing to put it behind us. TBH, I think talking about it would have been healthier, but I decided to let it go because he was so adamant. Then just the other day he came to me on his own and admit that he feels unsure about his relationship and is struggling to trust his fiancée ever since the incident on my birthday. I told him there's no rush to get married and he should take time to figure out what he's feeling. I didn't try to give any particular opinion because I feel like this is something he needs to figure out for himself. Also, I genuinely don't know what's going on between them. He still took what I said the wrong way somehow, and we ended up having an argument. He thinks I'm not happy for him and don't want to see him successful, starting a family. I tried to walk away at this point in the conversation because no matter what I said it was just going to get misconstrued, but he didn't want to stop fighting. Somewhere in that, I finally learned why he's so mad at me these days. It turns out he's pissed that our mom paid for my tuition. I've been doing OT to pay her back. Clarification, if it matters, she doesn't actually want me to pay her back. It was a gift, but I'd like to pay her back slowly. My brother feels this money should have been given to him for his wedding, which I am no longer invited to. I don't really know how to fix things, but that's where we're at. Update 2. My mom and brother got into it over the weekend. I have accepted being uninvited from my brother's wedding, but our mom wasn't having it. She was trying to understand where his anger is coming from. The problem I don't think he knows, and having conversations where he's questioned about it just makes everything worse. I wasn't present. It's something my mom called me about. Apparently after his explosion at her, he stormed out into the cold, without shoes. She got worried. I have realized that I'm not the person he wants to see in those moments, or the person he wants to receive help from. I want to be that person, and I'll always be available in the background. But somehow I've become part of his problem. My presence only ever fuels his anger. For that reason, I told my mom to contact his fiancée, and she did. Fiancée brought him back to the house and my mom didn't mention the wedding, or anything else. She told me today that they've started talking normally to each other again. I've also talked to my mom privately. I've made it clear that I'm not attending and she should give up on having me there. She initially wanted to threaten her own attendance, but we decided that she should support my brother in hopes of leaving a line of communication with at least one family member. My mom is really heartbroken. I thought about contacting his fiancée, then decided against it. Reading a lot of the comments I received, many of you pointed out that I need to stop trying to fix things. Some people took it too far and wrote me violent little DMs because the last line of the previous update made them feel some type of way, but I've had people in the back of my truck say and do a whole lot worse. It takes a lot more than some words on a screen. But I get it. And I will acknowledge it actually. That I think that's one of my biggest flaws. The need to fix things. I won't get into why I'm like this. I probably need therapy of my own given the lengths I'll go to, and how maladaptive it sometimes gets. Anyway. Promise I'm not fixing this. As far as updates go, this is probably my final one. I'm bowing out of my brother's downward spiral. It's the only thing I can do for him right now anyway. The rest I will deal with personally in time. I came on here for some perspective and I feel like I've gotten that.